The highest way to honor Bruce Lee isn't to stop where he left off. Instead, it is to start where he left off, not by discarding what he taught, but by discovering why he taught it. Hello, everyone. This is Dwight Woods, the Jeet Kune Rebel. Welcome to the I Love Jeet Kune broadcast number 371. This is the one about what's left to simplify in Jeet Kune. As you're logging in, if you'd be kind enough to say where you're logging in from, hit the like button and feel free to continue doing so throughout the broadcast. If you're catching the simulcast over on the YouTube, please be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell as well. But of course, the best thing you can do is to share this video and spread the word about the I Love Jeet Kune broadcast. All right. So, disclaimer. This issue of the broadcast came about from a conversation that I had with my student, Bucky, last week, I think it was, or the week before. And then it turned into a whole kind of a thought process thing, right? So just indulge me for a few minutes, right? Okay, so first step is to go deeper into what Bruce Lee taught, and don't just repeat it, but recreate it. And so when Richard Torres came across that recreate, I think he thought I meant to recreate Bruce Lee's art. No, that's not it at all, right? Because here's the first thing. If you say you're doing only what Bruce taught, then make sure you're doing it at the level of depth that he operated from. So don't just throw the technique, recreate the moment behind it. So it's like, ask yourself, what was Bruce Lee trying to solve when he created this, when he was doing this, right? Was it about closing distance? Was it about controlling rhythm? Was it about what's the famous thing? I intercept your intention. Was it about interrupting the opponent's intention or whatever? So the recreation is different from the repetition. The repetition can be a blind thing. The repetition can copy the result, but the recreation seeks to understand the why behind the result. So Bruce Lee didn't just create movements, let's say, right? What Bruce Lee sought to do was to create answers to questions. So if you never ask the question, then how can you truly understand the answer? Okay. So what we want to do is to use Bruce Lee's core principles as a filter. So if you take everything that you're training right now, and let's say it's everything that you're training right now, you learn from Bruce Lee's material. Well, you got to run it through his filter. So is the technique or the tactic, whatever, is it simple? Is it direct? Is it non-classical? Meaning, are you clinging to it because it's what has been handed down, or is it actually effective for you? And most importantly, is it a thing that you have proven for yourself that it works under pressure? So I am not advocating for throwing anything out. What I'm saying is that you validate what you're doing using Bruce Lee's own criteria. And so if it fails that filter, then you're not betraying Bruce Lee by questioning it. You're actually following his example by doing so, because Bruce Lee questioned a lot of things and ended up throwing out a lot of things. Okay. So that brings us to the issue. Is there anything left to simplify? Okay. In one sense, probably not. Maybe there isn't anything left to simplify, because Bruce Lee laid a lot of the groundwork. I don't personally say that he did the work, but I would say that he did lay the groundwork for us. So he stripped stuff down to its core in the pursuit of combat realism. Um, During his time here, he eliminated what he considered unnecessary, what he considered ornamental. The whole we do it this way, the tradition for tradition's sake, right? He eliminated all of that. And he left behind a set of ideas, a set of principles, a set of approaches, right? How to approach things designed for function, not necessarily designed for form, as in exactly this way. The difference between no form and no form. But here's the trick: Bruce Lee could not simplify for anyone other than himself, based on his own explorations, based on his experiences, hell, based on his own body. So he could pass on the results of his experimentation. So what worked for Bruce Lee might not automatically be the most effective thing for a trusted student, definitely not for me or for you. So if all we were doing is just repeating what Bruce Lee already figured out, then you're not really simplifying. You are preserving. And as much as I deign to use the word, right, the preservation of Bruce Lee's art, it's not, preservation is not a bad thing in and of itself, but it's not the same thing as participating in the JKD process. So because Jeet Kune is personal expression, then your job isn't to recite like the last chapter of the Tao or something, right? To use that analogy, your job is to write a chapter of your own. And isn't it interesting? That's what they did with subsequent editions of the Tao. So I think they were onto something, those smart guys, right? So here's what I know, because there are people whose mindset is, I'm not interested in adding anything to what Bruce Lee did. I just want to do what Bruce Lee did. Okay, cool. I get it. I don't know if I respect that, but I get it. So I'll throw a question out to you. What if honoring Bruce Lee's work means going deeper into it and not just repeating it? Isn't that what esteemed students of his, like Ted Wong, like Dan Inosanto, like Bob Bremer, isn't that what they did? Didn't they go deeper into it? Or was it just, okay, Bruce Lee did it this way, so we just do it this way? So what if your job isn't to add, but it's actually to experiment and test out for yourself? Okay. So here's the guidelines, right? Things you can start doing right now that stay within the framework, but can kind of push you to grow. So recreate the process, right? Not the product. So don't go, oh, this is the technique, the way it was passed on, right? Ask yourself, this is where the thought experiment comes in. Well, why did he do it this way? What's the problem that he was trying to solve? And is there an alternative that he rejected? Um, Test what you're doing. Ask yourself all the time, the way I'm doing it, is it simple? Is it direct? Does it work under pressure? Is it non-classical? Um, Train it in different scenarios, right? So you spar it, yes, but you spar it, you make up, you do what, I think they called it, um, situation sparring or limited sparring or what have you, right? So you do it when you're tired. You do it when you do it against somebody who you know is faster than you. You do it from a disadvantaged position, right? Like one hand, like sitting down, like whatever, right? That's not adding anything. That is just verifying what you already have, right? Um, Look inward before you look outward, right? That's going to come in handy on Friday. I'll tell you in just a second, right? You don't have to chase Thai boxing. You don't have to chase Kali. You don't have to chase Savat, right? To stay JKD. No, 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 no. But you have to ask yourself: is what I'm doing, is it helping me to express myself, or is it just, am I just trying my best to be a clone of Bruce Lee? right? Am I trying to repeat someone else, right? And let me be clear about this. This is not deviation. This is actually by taking yourself through this process and thinking about these things, right? I mean, even going so far as like, look at how many journals and day timers and notebooks and what have you Bruce Lee had. So imagine if you started keeping a refinement journal, right? Like your own record of what what observations you've made, tracking your own progress, tracking your own thoughts, and what have you. This is not about inventing new techniques or something like that. It's just tracking your experiences and your insights and your own progress, right? As you live and breathe the JKD that you practice. Okay. So that's it for me. Um, just keep in mind that the process of Jeet Kune, it doesn't start with adopting somebody else's ideas. It starts with learning to listen to yourself. Okay. So do everything that you can that is within Bruce Lee's framework, but still participate in making it your own. Okay. So what say you? What do you think about that little thought experiment of mine? Please let me know in the comments below, because that's all I'm going to say in this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, subscribe, and hit the notification bell over on the YouTube. Follow me on Twitter at Dwight Woods and on Instagram at Dwight D. Woods, at paypal.me/unified MA Miami, paypal.me/unified MA Miami. The Jeet Kune Journey Volume 1 is available, paypal.me/unified MA Miami. Uh, Also, go over while you're here on Facebook, go over to JKD Drills and like and follow that page. And what is that? Oh, how did I do that? I clicked one thing and two things came up. Cool, right? Okay. Yeah, so go over to JKD Drills and follow over there so that when it's up and running, you'll know what's going on. Um, One other thing, do I have it here? Yes, there we go. Hang on, give me a sec. Okay. Nope, that doesn't show it the way I want it to show. Hold on. Okay, there we go. All right, so that GoFundMe URL 03D3 Bed 3, that is my student Wayne Quinton down in Barbados. His wife Petal, shown in the picture there, is having her fight against breast cancer. And so if you could go there and contribute, it would be heartfully appreciated on my part. Okay. Um, and that is it, I think. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I don't have a postcard or anything set up for it. But on Friday, at it should be at 6 p.m., the usual Friday time. None other than the infamous Anthony Casey should be coming onto the show with me, that we've been in negotiations, let's call it, right? And so I'm expecting him to give me the ultimate go ahead later today and what have you. And then I'll set everything up tomorrow. And then you guys can join us for what I anticipate will be a highly spirited conversation with Mr. Casey on Friday at 6 p.m. All right, today is Blue Day. There you go. Right. And that's it. You guys enjoy the rest of your evening. This is Dwight Wizard Jeet Kune Rebel signing off. Take care, and we'll talk soon.